So, how many of us here this morning are parents or grandparents or caregivers? Huh? Yeah, pretty good number, huh? Huh? How many of you remember one of those days where you just kind of gave it your all? And by the end of the evening, you were just exhausted, right? And you were just glad that the kids were finally in bed. You weren't, but the kids were. And then you hear the sound. It's a child crying out, sick. You immediately jump up. The adrenaline kicks in, and you begin to serve the needs of that child, regardless of how tired and exhausted you are. This is the experience that Jesus and his apostles are having in this first reading the reading from the gospel. They've been journeying for days. They've been going from town to town, preaching and healing and helping others. They're exhausted from the journey. And Jesus even says, we need to get away. We need to rejuvenate. And then they hear the sound. They see the crowd. And they know that they cannot rest at that point. The adrenaline kicks in, and Jesus begins to minister, begins to shepherd those people. Shepherding, it's 24/7. And if you have an image of a shepherd as a rather passive, lay around in the field, kind of take it easy kind of notion, that's a false image. Real shepherds, it's a very demanding job. It's demanding physically, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. You're always on duty. You're always thinking about how to serve the needs of those under your care. It never stops. That's called agape love. It's a love which is self-sacrificing, always seeking the good of the other and never counting the cost for yourself. It's a standard that's very difficult for us to achieve, but it's a standard nonetheless that we strive to attain. Now, maybe you think to yourself, well, I don't have any children at home anymore, right? I'm a young person. I don't even have anybody under my care. No. You were baptized into Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ is the Good Shepherd. We are bound to his role as shepherd. We need to look out for the good of the other as Jesus always looks out for the good of the other. God tells us through the prophet Jeremiah, woe to those shepherds who do not minister to the flock, who seek to simply cater to their own wants and desires. And quite frankly, that's pretty easy to do when we're shepherds. We would like to just kind of lie around and just take care of ourselves. Jesus also calls us to task in the last judgment. He condemns those who fail to reach out and clothe the naked, to feed the hungry, to visit those in prison and those sick. He's calling us to task, to fulfill our job, our role as shepherd. And it's not a task that we do by accident. It's not just like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do this. It's an intentional act. It's a desire on our part to seek the good of others. Now, that could seem a bit overwhelming. But through that prophet Jeremiah, God also reminds us that don't worry, I myself will shepherd you. I will take care of your needs so that you can attend to the needs of others. Now, here at St. Margaret, we have lots of opportunities for us to try to fulfill that role as shepherd. Not just as parents and grandparents, you have that task as well, but everyone can reach out and look at how can we serve the needs of others. We collect food and clothing for food pantries. We have ministries that attend to the sick and to the suffering, to those homebound and in nursing homes. We have prison ministry that people participate in. There's a mother's ministry here that helps to give some relief to a mom so that she can have a little bit of rest while you watch the kids, right? While you take care of maybe some chores for her. Those are wonderful ministries. And there are many others for us to reach out to. Now, we also remember that this shepherding, it does take time for us. It does mean for us that we do need to get away. We pray in that psalm, Jesus is the good shepherd. He leads me to verdant pastures where he gives me repose. And he leads me beside restful waters. That's where he leads me. Jesus knows we need that time to refresh ourselves. And that time to refresh ourselves is so that we can in turn then go out and serve others. So as we think of our role as shepherd of God's flock, as a participant in the fulfillment mission of Jesus Christ on earth, let us be intentional about our prayer. Let us be intentional about our service. And let us always have in our mind the needs for others and to seek out a way to help them.